Welcome to Tech Brothers with Amir. In this video, we are going to learn how to load data from Excel file when number of columns can decrease or order is changed in an Excel sheet. Now, what we have here, I have three Excel files right here. And what we are expecting to our Excel sheet should have three columns. It should have ID, it should have name and date of birth. So the very first file what I have put here, that has the exact number of columns that we have in a SQL Server table. Now it has only one record, and the only data we have is on sheet 1. I'm not putting any data on sheet 2. So let's close this one and take a look on the next Excel file. Open it. And here you see that we have ID and name. So date of birth is missing, and I have named the sheet less columns. So now we can go ahead and take a look on the third one. And here what we have, the order is messed up. So we always have ID, name and date of birth, but here we have date of birth first, then we have name, and then at the end we have ID. So sheet name is column order incorrect. So what you see here, we have different files sitting in our folder with the single sheet as of now, and each one has this different sheet name. So that's where this get really tricky when you need to load this data into SQL Server table, and you try to use a built-in Excel source. So I'm going to use a script task here and do our best to handle all different situations. Let's go ahead. I could have do a lot of things, type code by myself here and all that. I have written actually this post on TechBrothersIT.com, so I'm going to copy the code from there. There is no point wasting 30 minutes here writing each line of code, and I will walk you through each step and you would understand the code, and then we will maybe make some changes and test this different scenarios. First of all, I'm going to take you to TechBrothersIT.com, and then you will be going to the SSIS video tutorial tab right here. So if you will you open TechBrothersIT.com, you will be here, and then you're going to find SSIS video tutorial. Once you are there, we are going to navigate to the post, and we will be going to the script task, and under the script task I have here Excel source and destinations script task dynamic, and this is the very first link right here. How to load data from Excel file when number of columns can decrease or order is changed in Excel sheet. So let's go ahead and open it, and this is the table definition right here. So we are going to copy this definition, and next part we are going to go down. I'm going to show you all these steps by myself. So let's go ahead and open SSDT SQL Server Data Tools. First of all, open SSMS and create this table. So we are going to create this table in Tech Brothers IT database. Open new query. You will be creating in your database whatever you have. And if you really like Tech Brothers IT, you might like to create a database named Tech Brothers IT. So paste your query here and then go ahead and run this query. Now, this is a Dbo.Customer Table is created. In my case, I'm using a schema Dbo. In your case, you might have different schema. So whatever the schema you have, maybe sales or any other, you can go ahead and create your table. Now, this table doesn't have any record, so we are going to just write our select query, though we can use that one later. Okay, table is created, all good. Next part, we are coming to SSDT SQL Server Data Tools and creating a new package. I recommend you to rename this package, so you would know that which package is doing what. So let's do say Excel dynamic loading when sheet columns decrease. Okay, so this is the name. I would recommend you to creating always variables. Why? Because we can use those variables in configuration, and when you are deploying your package from QA to UAT, or excuse me, from production, you can always make changes to the configuration file or in the configuration or database, and you don't have to make changes to your package. First of all, as you see that we are using these files from a folder, so folder path can change in different environments. So we are going to create a variable called a folder path. So let's go ahead and open SSDT here. Right now I provide a variable name. I'm going to call this one a folder path. This is going to be string type, and the value we are going to provide right now. We in this video we are not doing configuration, but I have other videos where you can see how to configure, create a configuration and all that. Now the second variable we want to create is the table name. So table name, and here we can go ahead and provide the table name with schema. So it is a Dbo.Customer. That's it. So tomorrow, if you will in production, your customer, your table name is not Dbo.Customer, maybe it is sale customer, you will be changing this part only. Or maybe it is not even customer, or it's a regional customer, so you will provide right here. So you will not open actually package, you will provide the values to these variables by using configuration. So this makes your package dynamic. Now this next part is we need to create a connection manager, because we are loading the data from Excel and we want to load into the SQL server. We are going to create Id.NET connection here. Go to connection managers tab or pan and right click here and say new Id.NET connection. So it's going to ask you a few questions, whatever. Okay, what is the name of your server and database? I have few already. I'm going to create a new one. And here we will be providing our instance name. You can go ahead and click on the drop down. It will take some time, but I always go to my SQL server and use select at the rate server name. So once I use this variable here, and this gives me, come on, this is kind of stuck. Okay, because this was overriding. So anyways, this is SQL Server 2016, and here if you run this one, you will get on your PC SQL 2016. So this is the same thing. Next, you will be selecting your database. So let's select TechBrothersIT, and now we will say test connection, success, good, and hit OK. Now you see here it is on your PC /SQL 2016.TechBrothersIT. That name I don't really like it. I would love to change this one to some reasonable. Maybe you will go ahead and say DB. Click here and type it. Sorry. And let's go ahead and rename it. We'll call this one DB TechBrothersIT. Okay, so now it is more reasonable. You can also put DB connection or whatever. So that tells you like, okay, this is the connection manager. That's it for now. Here we are done with this part. Now we are going to bring a script task. So let's go ahead, go to the SSIS toolbox and bring the script task right here. Next part will be mapping these variables. So we have folder path, we have table name, and here we are going to use C#. I'm really not great in VB, but I can write some code, but I'm more comfortable with C, so I have written all these codes in C#. So click here, and then we will be using okay, folder path, and then we will be using a table name. So we are mapping these variables, and that's it. You can see it's all good. Now we are going to this button and click edit script. Next part is very easy. We need to copy some code and paste in the script task. So if you go down here, I'm saying add some namespaces. So what these namespaces, we will be able to use different functions from these namespaces. So I'm going to copy these namespaces as it is. Just I will paste under the region namespaces tab in a script task. So editor is open, and here is we have namespaces. So if you click here on the plus sign, it will show you all the namespaces it is using already by default, and we are going to add ours. So hit enter and paste. So we are using sys.io, system.data.oledb, and system.data.sql connection. So we will be, as we are going to read some files from the file system, so this namespace functions will be used. Here we are making connection to the Excel, so this some connection, some function will be used from here and all that, and we are using data.SQL client namespace as well. We will use some functions from here as well. So now next part is the public void main. That's your main function, and that's where we are going to paste our code. Add your code here. You can always see here, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy and paste this code. So from right here, I can go all the way and just copy this whole thing. Then I'm going to explain that what we have done. Also, if you are not comfortable copying from there and you see like there are some code that's split into multiple lines, so you can see right here. So if you are not comfortable fixing them and all that, you can always go here with the link to the script on top, and it will open a document for you. I have loaded this to the Google Drive, and from there you can copy. It will be much more cleaner. So you can copy from here just as it is, what we have done all the way from till here. So your choice, because this is a already written line there, so we don't have to copy and paste this one, but the rest of the part in the middle you will be copying. So go ahead and open your SSDT again and script task editor. Now I'm gonna go ahead paste here. We are all good here. Few of the things, while I was going through creating variables, I could have make mistake. So and also I was creating a connection manager. I made a mistake maybe there. I used different name. So you want to take a look. If you want to use my code, you should be exactly using the folder path, table name, variables, exactly the same what I have. So otherwise it is going to create some problem. Or you come back here and provide the exact name for variables and connection manager. So let's take a look on this part. First of all, what we are doing, we are saying we are providing we are creating these variables called folder path, and then I'm using this SSIS variable folder path and saving here, because anywhere I need to use this value from our folder, I can simply use this variable that's in the script task instead of writing this whole thing. So that make it easy. And the same thing I did for table name. So once I save the values in these variables, then what I want to do, I declare a directory, and here I'm reading from that directory. So I want to get all the list of those files in the array and save here. So this is a file info array. I created this one, and then as we are using folder path here, so these two lines are going to get all the files from that folder and save into the file area. So there will be a list of the files. Next, what we are doing, I created a full file path. So I will be using it. So it's a good idea just set to blank for now, and then we will set the value. Now for each, you know that for each loop is going to go ahead and take a look on each record, so it keep looping. So what we are doing here, we have a file info, file in files. So this is our array where we have saved all those files. So we are going to look and here is where we are saving one at a time. Now file full path, folder path plus the file name. So that will make it a full path. Because we want to read from Excel, we need a full path. Okay, so that's one reason I have created this variable. Next, we will I have a string connection string and a string HDR header, and header I put yes, because we are going to have header in this case for anyways, because we need a mapping. Without header there is no way I can map in this scenario. So for this scenario you need a header column in your Excel sheets always. And connection string, then I'm setting okay provider, I'm using a Microsoft.ac OLED DB 12.0 driver here, and then I'm telling okay from where this is a full file path. So go to this folder and use this file name. This is the complete path for that file, and then some extended properties. Okay, header is yes, Imax is equal to 0. So that tells like okay read the data from the Excel and make decision what data type it should be. So if you will put Imax 1, that means read everything as a string. So I'm gonna leave this one as a default. I want to read as it is. Now OLED DB connection, so I'm creating a new connection here. So I create this new connection. I use the connection string and local variable here, and then I'm opening a connection, and then I'm going and getting the sheet names. Now here we are getting all the sheet names, and then what we are doing here, I declare another variable called sheet name, and set this one to the blank. Now I have list of the sheet names here, but I'm using only one. So I'm looping through it and I'm saying if the table name, so if the sheet name contain this $sign, that's my sheet. So every sheet actually does contain that $sign if it is correct sheet. So then I'm saying, oh, sheet name is equal to dr sheet table name dot toString. So I'm saving the sheet name into the variable. If you have only one sheet, yes, it's going to work great. If you have like 5 sheets, what will happen? It will loop through and actually use the last sheet. So that's not really the great scenario here, but my assumption is with this scenario you are going to get different files but only with a single sheet. I have other videos and where we have where we can handle these situations. I'm gonna make a modification here in front of you once we run this package at the end, and load, actually create a new file, sheet in the file and load that as well. So it's just moving code from down to here. So each time it gets a new sheet name, it will load that. But in our scenario, as we would like to have always one sheet, we can put further test here. If there are more than one sheet, we want to throw the error and all that, but I didn't do it. So I will create those videos. I have a list of videos for these scenarios. Now here what we are doing, loading the data from Excel sheet to the data table. So we are creating a table in memory and then loading it. So I'm saying select asterisk from a sheet name. I'm not using any column, so it is going to read all those columns, whatever the columns are present in the sheet. Then we have created the data table and we have filled that data table with the data, and then we close the connection. Now this is the last part where we are saying, okay, we are using our ADO.NET connection, and you see here a DTS.connections. It is I have used DB connection, so that's wrong here because we have changed. We need a Db_TechBrothersIT. That was the name of our ADO.NET connection we have created in our SSIS package. So that's what we are going to use, which is a SQL connection, and I gave the name my ADO.NET connection is new, and we initialize a new instance of this SQL connection, and then we are going to use this already connection manager we have created in our SSIS package. This is the last final part. Now we have the data in the data table, so that's in the memory. We have opened the connection. Now how we would know that, okay, there are columns coming, there are less columns, there are more actually less column. In this scenario we are only considering exact number of columns or less columns, and how we will map those columns. How if we will not map them, they will start throwing error. So this is where we are going to use bulk SQL bulk copy. So we will use SQL bulk copy that will take the data from a data table that we have filled with our data from the Excel and dump that data, but this part is going to map those columns. So you see here we are saying for each var column in dt.columns. So that's our data table in the memory, and we are saying, okay, these columns use the for each loop through and say column mapping dot add column dot toString and toString. So we have already here the connection manager, and as we are telling the table name, so this is a bc.destination table. Now it know which column the table has. So it has this one is the data table in the memory that is loaded from Excel. So we have those list of the columns, and then we have column names coming from our actual table, that's Dbo.Customer. So this part is mapping them. So it will add the mapping. If we have ID will be mapped to ID, name will be mapped to name, and that's it. And finally you are writing to the server. So you are writing the entire data table that's in the memory to the table. So that's it. Now we are all good here. Save it, close the window, and we are going to go ahead and run this package. So hit OK. I know it takes a whole lot to explain it, but there are so many SSIS developers. They are not really good in C#. Even I felt that I went really fast on the lines and I tried to explain quickly, but I wish I could take more time and explain to people, because as a SSIS developer, our C# or VB skills are not that great. But anyways, now you get the idea, and you can go ahead and run your package. It should load. So you see that all everything is done. We see the green thing, that means it completed with success. Stop the debugging, go to the table now and take a look. So we should have 3 records. What happened now? So we didn't get any actually record here. So let me take a look right now. So we are going to TechBrothersIT. Let's debug it. That's a good idea. So we have customers. I'm gonna paste it here so we don't make mistake. Let me just copy the name, because sometimes we do make mistakes with our that shouldn't be issue though. And this is our folder. So to debug it, I will recommend go ahead and TechBrothersIT. That looks good. The connection we have here, we mapping is correct. We are going to click on edit script and start debugging it. There are multiple ways to debug it. Let's say if we would like here we have I always leave some message boxes. I'm hoping to have some message boxes here, but I don't see them right here. So what we can do, we can click here. Give me a second. I'm gonna take a look first and make sure we have a folder path, table name, that's correct. And I'm just curious if Db_TechBrothersIT, that's also correct. We should have no issues. So I'm going to come here. Let's say if I come right here, I put some breakpoints on the sheet, then I'm going to come here and say, okay, if this is running fine, it is filling fine, and then I would like to come to the final and take a look on this one if this works, and this mapping is working and the writing is working. So I put these different breakpoints here. I'm going to save it, and we will run our package again, and let's take a look what happened. Package ran fine. Most of the time it give you error, so error is good. If you get the problem, you can fix it, but here we didn't get any error, and it is saying it completed successfully. So okay, no data is loaded. Okay, why? One reason, because the bulk, give me a second right here, let me come back, and you see that we have name, that's in uppercase, and what we have in the Excel, that's in the lowercase. So if I go back to Excel, it is lower. So as I was telling you guys, it should be exact same. So we can drop this one, maybe that's the error, and bulk copy could not really copy the data. So let's go ahead and drop. Before we drop it, let's debug it so you learn it how to debug the script task. Now we are here, and once we run it, it will stop right here. It will tell us like if we want to continue, you can click here, or you can click on this continue, or press F5. And if I will hit that one, now if I will bring my mouse here, and let's hit one more time, so it is bringing multiple sheets. So as there are multiple sheets in this file, so see there are 3 files, there are 3 sheets, so that's the problem. So if you will come back here and you take a look, hover your mouse here and you say sheet 3, it is trying to read the data from sheet 3. As I was telling you guys, in my assumption, I felt like, okay, we should have always one sheet. So that's the problem. Now we figure out the problem. We are going to stop our package, and I have these scenarios covered in other videos, but with some of the scenarios we always get this requirement, hey, we are going to always have a one sheet. So I'm going to delete these sheets. I'm going to leave only one and it should work just fine. Another problem, we have fixed it already, name. So it was in the capital alphabets and now here it was in lower alphabets. So that is fixed as well. Let's save it and open our second Excel. I will come back and create another sheet and show you how we can handle that in this video as well. So no big deal, because I want to show you. Now let's close this one. I don't know, when you watch my videos, do you guys get bored or say, okay, there are a lot of debugging going on? But I want to do this by purpose, because that's how we learn the things. Now we are going to go back and stop our package. We don't really need this checkpoints, breakpoints here, but if you want to use it, it's fine. You can go ahead and use it. Now let's run our package. Before we run it, we drop the table and recreate the table with correct header. Now we are good. We should be fine. Go ahead and run this package. So now I see the pain when even people copy the code and get to the problems, and they still couldn't solve it as a new SSIS developer, and especially when they don't have experience with C# or VB. It's really get tricky to handle these situations. But this is the one where you are learning like how to debug your script task and take a look what exactly is going through the variables and all that. Now here, see, it is read in a sheet. Then we click here, it is only coming here one time, and if we click, it should go to the next. As in the last one, it was looping through because there was 3 sheets. Now if I click here, you see that it was one sheet, it took that sheet one name, now it went to the other line of the code. So now we are good, we are reading it, and now we read it, we fill the data, and then finally this connection is open, everything is good. Now we are in the destination table, so it is taking a look, Dbo.Customer from our variable, that's good, and then for each loop, and then it is going to map those columns. So once you click here, it should come here 3 times, as we have 3 columns. So 1, 2, and 3, and then if I hit next again, it is writing the data to the table as of now. So click continue. So first part is done. So if I will go ahead and run this one, now we have one record where this is coming from the first sheet where we had data for all those columns, and the number of columns were the same. We have ID, name, and date of birth. Now I'm going to go ahead and run for the other one where we don't have exact number of columns. So press next, and now you see that 1, 2. So there was only 2 columns, so we blink or loop through only 2 columns. Now if I hit next, so it is done, it loaded the data. We can come back and execute. You see that there was no data for date of birth, so it loaded the data from sheet second file with the less columns. So we had only ID and name, so that data is loaded. Now we are going to go to the last one and run it. So lesson to learn from here, if you even have always one file, your client is going to provide one file, no big deal, this package is going to take care of it. Because one of the forum I was reading a question, he said that no, I don't want this package because this can load multiple files. I mean, who cares? If you will put only one file, it is going to load that one file. So but if tomorrow your manager and everybody decide, okay, we will put multiple files, this package should be able to handle that. So run this one, and we see that this is coming from the third file with the single sheet, and the data is loaded. The columns were in different order, but it mapped them correctly, and the data is loaded. Now one more thing, I'm going to go back real quick and show you what I was talking about. If you have multiple sheets in this scenario and you want to handle them as well, so what you will do, let's go to our file here and create one more sheet. I'm going to go ahead and call this one, we have sheet 1 and sheet 2. I'm going to call this one ID, name, and date of birth. And here ID, I'm going to start with 5001, and name, I will say file 1 sheet 2. So this should be loaded as well. Date of birth I don't care, or let's go ahead and provide it 1/1/Sometime. Okay, that's it. So now we have two sheets, and number of columns are exactly same. Number of, in this scenario, number of columns can be exact same, number of column can be decreased, or number of column can be, the order can be changed. If you have more columns, this code is not going to handle that. There is another video on that one, so that's kind of tricky. We will go through that one as well. So close for now. And here I'm going to show you how to make changes to your code to handle multiple sheets if you really want to load them. But now, see, this one is the loop. That's where the sheet names are coming and everything. If we run this code right here after getting a sheet name, this should work just fine. So I'm going to copy this, actually cut this code from here, right click, cut, and then I'm going to go right here under the sheet and paste it. Now every time it's going to get a new sheet, it will set the sheet name, then it is going to select all the data, fill the data table, and then finally it will load the data to the table and then come back for the next sheet. So now our package is able to handle multiple sheets in a file, and or we can have single file as well. So we have different scenarios here. So we have a sheet with two files, a sheet with one file, sheet with one file, but number of columns should be always matching or less, and then last part is that the order can be changed as well. So this code is going to handle that situations. Now we are going to go ahead and drop our table or truncate our table, maybe drop it just quickly, and recreate this table. Now we have no records, and if we run this one, we should get 4 records in this table. So let's go ahead and run it now. Okay, completed successfully. Come to this equal, run your run your select query, and you can see that we have this first file with the sheet 1 data. Then we have, remember, we put the second sheet with ID 5001 file on sheet 2, file 1 sheet 2. So that multiple sheets are loaded from single file, and also the other 2 files has only 1 sheet, those are loaded, and even there was 1 column missing or order was different. So this is how you will be handling Excel loading, and I hope you learn good things from here. And I'm sorry for making this video too long. I don't know what to do with these scenarios. Sometimes there are a lot of things to cover, and when you start talking, you can't really stop yourself. You can simply stick to the notes and don't explain anything, but that's not the way I teach. So I feel like there is a lot to learn, and there are a lot of small scenarios I need to explain them. But again, I apologize for taking a whole lot of time, and I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something out of it, and I will see you guys in next video.